Hey, what's up, guys? It's Daz Petzergling, and this is the round of 16, it's the second MSL broadcast, and this is the games 2 and 3 of the second set of best of threes, and we're starting it off with NaDa and Tempest. They're playing their second game on Neo Harmony, and this is just another really exciting series. NaDa is actually up 1-0. They had a pretty epic first game. NaDa outplayed him for most of the game, but Tempest managed to hang on and kind of make it a good game. Get a really great stasis in there. But NaDa definitely showed that he's no pushover, and he's showing that he still has good TVP, and he's still someone to be afraid of. I mean, if he could play super solid, super clean TVP like he did in that game, then I think Tempest really has a lot to worry about. Tempest, however, I mean, he's still a young up-and-comer. I don't think he's going to lay down and die. We should have a really exciting game here. And Tempest, I think actually I'm going to take Tempest to take this one. I think Tempest has a good chance to win this game. I just think he's going to come up with something. And Neo Harmony, it is a slightly Terran favored map just based on the early stats, but those are really early, so we can't tell anything. But I like Tempest in this game, and I think he's probably going to lose the third one. So that's just my picks. What do you think, Petzergling?
Ooh, not a lot of confidence there in Tempest. And you know what? It's a close, but I would say I would have to disagree with you there. And I think NaDa, the map really suits his playstyle. And I think one of the only difficulties that a Terran would have on this map is that a Protoss would go for an early Nexus, and if the Terran's attack on it fails, it'd be kind of fucked. I mean, that's just a really difficult position to be in. And NaDa, in that game, the first game on Destination, it was a 1 versus 1 map, so he was able to scout it fairly quickly. But on a big 4-player map, it might be difficult for NaDa to stop it. And while that would be a problem, Tempest pretty much isn't going to do that, because Tempest was punished so hard for that in the first game, and just for sinking 1-0. And you hardly ever see players go for another early Nexus right after a failed early Nexus. And really, yeah. I think early Nexuses into a huge macro game would be real hard for NaDa to deal with. But NaDa, I don't think that's going to happen. I think NaDa's going to be fine with this game. It is kind of a macro map, but I think that would favor a little bit of an up-and-comer there with Tempest. But
hold on, I just want to
Tempest did show. Well, yeah.
NaDa actually did not have a perfect split. I don't know if you noticed that, but NaDa actually split 2 SCVs on 1 patch. He was mining only off of 3 patches right away. Not a really big deal in the game, but just interesting to note. He's a pro gamer and he didn't have a perfect split, so that's just kind of funny, man. Who knows? Maybe he's nervous. But anyway, just wanted to mention that, and go ahead, keep going.
Oh yeah, and just for clarification, we got Tempest spawning in the orange toss in the upper right, NaDa in the blue Terran in the upper left. Oh, sorry. Okay. And I would say these positions favor NaDa even more, not just the map. I mean, it's not that Terran favored, but from the fact that they're not cross positions, which I think would actually favor Protoss quite well. The way NaDa can play is he can play off of whatever he wants. He can take a third base quickly and then push. And when a Terran is right next to a Protoss, it allows him to go for a push and then take expansions along the way, whereas in cross positions, you can't really push across the map and take expansions, and you're always at the risk of a counterattack. It looks like Tempest throwing down the gateway, and the supply depot. Actually an extremely early scout out for NaDa. And this is something it seems like almost NaDa likes to do a lot. Send that early SCV scout out. Before, when NaDa used to play, I wouldn't say NaDa's golden age, because NaDa really probably is the best he's ever been in his career right now. But when he used to dominate, it was really early scout. A lot of people weren't as familiar with the builds as they are now, but now people have so much information about builds that it's almost nobody scouts this early, especially in Terran versus Protoss. And to see NaDa scout extremely early, I mean, it's going to be beneficial to NaDa. It really helps to spot that early Nexus, and he's going to get in there
scouting
right there.
After core.
Yeah, to scouting after core. I mean, hardly ever do you see a Terran scout before a Protoss, but I mean, it looks like pretty standard game opening up, and I guess we're just have to wait to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, nothing crazy going on so far, except for NaDa being an old schooler, scouting early. I still scout really early. It's just kind of a force of habit, and I don't know, personally, I like to know exactly what my opponent is doing. I think these days, especially the Koreans. Yeah, he's checking for a proxy. I think that might have been because NaDa's SCV got in his base so early that Tempest probably got scared of a proxy. So, but it's not really doing him any good. There's nothing really to watch out for. Yeah, but what was I saying? Yeah, I mean, a lot of pro gamers these days, and I mean it's trickled down onto the whole StarCraft scene. People come up with perfectly planned out builds for the first, like, 4 or 5 minutes of the game, and that's what they're gonna do no matter what. Whereas personally, I like to adapt a lot more. And back in the day when NaDa, when he was dominating, that was definitely a more popular way to play, to kind of really adapt everything you do. I mean, change up your build order even at the 2-minute mark, based on scouting information. But I mean, it's just not as effective. I mean, the build orders these days are so good, they're so advanced, and they're known so well that it's really not necessary anymore. But NaDa's probably still doing it out of habit and also just to be safe. I mean, he doesn't want to get cheesed. He probably thinks he's better than this guy, considering he outplayed him pretty well in the mid to late game last game. So he probably just wants to play safe. He thinks he's a better player. And I'm probably going to have to agree with him. And I think he is going to take this series, but I don't expect Tempest to lay down and die. I think Tempest has a solid PvT. So far, neither player has really deviated from the standard. We're seeing the 1-gate robo opening from Tempest. Pretty much the most standard thing you can do. And NaDa, I'm not sure what NaDa's doing actually. We haven't seen his base in a while. I don't know if he's still got SCVs and gas or what. Tempest is going to deny the scout here. NaDa tried to get in. It looked almost like he wanted to glitch there, but it doesn't really matter. Even if he did,
maybe it has to do with this map, because this was the map that
we saw it on
happened before
GG. Too.
And actually a second factor.
Maybe
it's just the bridges. I think it might be just the bridges. Like, it looks kind of weird, and they actually can sneak that by. But I mean, the other one really looked like it did. Second factory going out for NaDa. This is kind of a strange build. Do you see how he has the 4 Marines in the tank out? It's almost reminiscent of an FD build, which, I would definitely not put it past NaDa to do an FD build, especially on a map like this. And NaDa probably wanted to make it look like, to Tempest at least, that he was just going for an early expansion. And he may try some aggression, but I don't think this is going to work out at all for NaDa, considering that Tempest played very safe, just like you said, completely standard. Went for the 1-gate robo, and now he's getting his range. Actually, no, he didn't. Did he get his range already? I don't think he did.
Yeah, range is
finished. He's going to have observers. Oh, range is finished. Okay, yeah, I thought I saw it spinning earlier. But nonetheless, Tempest is going to have a gateway out. He's going to have a fair number of Dragoons. Look at that, already ready for any sort of attack. He's going to deny the scout completely, although NaDa's probably, from what he's seen so far, he has to imagine that there's either going to be some sort of tech that hasn't come in by now, or he's going to have the expansion. And NaDa looks like making a lot of vultures, so a pretty safe 2-factory build. I think he's going to build a command center there, and it seems like NaDa's almost ready to punish an early Nexus. And it's going to come down to micro here really heavily, because NaDa really hasn't committed too hard to this attack. I mean, if he would have gone for an earlier second factory and maybe some more units. And it looks like Tempest has spotted the FD. Yeah, and Tempest, he does have 5 Dragoons. This is going to be difficult, but NaDa's going to sneak by with some vultures. And, Tempest, but actually NaDa's going to try to be aggressive with these vultures. But Tempest, taking some damage there from that mine. But pretty good micro there from Tempest. Tempest really minimized damage. And normally this would be a really good position for a Terran, but look at that. The observers are already out. Really good safe build here from Tempest. And he's going to be able to clean this out actually pretty shortly. And NaDa doesn't have any tanks to back up. And actually NaDa's pushing even more. And if he gets a lucky mine here, he might be able to break this. But, he's got some of the Dragoons trapped. But Tempest is actually sniping. Just as I say, he's been sniping off the mines. He takes some damage, but actually pretty decent job there from Tempest. And he stops that attack outright. And yeah, just now Tempest is going to be at a huge economic advantage here, considering that NaDa opened with the 2-factor and he lost so many units. So really good Dragoon control there from Tempest. I was really impressed there. An excellent move there, taking his 3rd base right away.
Yeah, I think that's the right move. I mean, after you beat off a Terran attack like that easily, you can definitely take your 3rd base. You have that window of opportunity. I'm kind of surprised. Like, if NaDa had gone for a straight-out 2-fac against a 1-gate range robo, you can, pretty much win with a 2-fac. If he goes 1-gate range robo to Nexus, you can kill that with a 2-factory pretty easily. I mean, of course, NaDa didn't know that, but this is kind of like a very kind of lame 2-factory build. Like, he wasn't really committed to it. Although I think it wasn't really much of an all-in. Like, he takes his command center early either way.
No, not at all.
Yeah, he didn't really commit to it very much. But I think if he had gone for an actual 2-fac build, he would have won the game outright. So that kind of sucks for NaDa. And now he is a little bit behind, but I don't think it's a huge deal, because he did get his command center relatively early. And all the time that he was, as much as Tempest got his Nexus way before NaDa did, Tempest couldn't mine from the Nexus until NaDa's command center was just about done. So really, NaDa lost those units, and that puts him behind a little bit, but it's not a huge difference. It's still a relatively even game. And NaDa has an opportunity. He knows this third base is up. He has an opportunity to go for some kind of timing push, but it doesn't look like he's going to do that. I think I saw a starport. Is that a starport in the corner?
I think it was a starport for NaDa.
Okay.
And shuttle actually out for Tempest. Do you think he's going to...
That's a good move for Tempest.
Tempest should really be careful here. Like, he's really got a limited number of units. He should really be more careful with these mines.
Oh,
especially, I mean, he's using his observer to
that
scout.
Observer was a ninja. Run past the fucking turret. Is he going for some kind of
do you think he's going to
here?
go for a bull? I think he might try and go for a break.
He
And if
might
you look at
bulldog
NaDa's turret positioning, NaDa, I mean, the turret is really gimped there. It's not protecting the tanks at all. Immediately unsieging there, and there goes all the zealots. This is going to be extremely difficult for NaDa to hold. He traps both of the tanks.
This is going to be tough.
Great drops there, 4 zealots, and it looks like only 2 tanks alive for NaDa. Oh my gosh, NaDa's going to lose this game right here. Oh wow, 2 tanks.